The Umbrellas' journey from their self-titled album in 2021 to the release of their infectious second album, Fairweather Friend, marks an evolution in their musical direction. Their first foray was a testament to the band's ability to blend genres, delivering slices of indie pop that resonated because of its vibrant energy and sharp lyrics. This initial offering, while very captivating, was merely a prelude to the more expansive soundscape they aimed to explore in their subsequent work. With one of the best albums of the year, Fairweather Friend, the Umbrellas have indeed broadened their sonic horizons. This album is not just an extension of their debut, it is a bold proclamation of their growth and confidence as musicians. This isn't just about turning up the volume, it's about refining their craft, meticulously sculpting every note, harmony to achieve a richer, more profound musical experience for the listener. It's a compelling next chapter for the Umbrellas, one that not only cements their place in indie pop landscape, but also signals the exciting, uncharted territories they are yet to explore. Let's welcome the band, the Umbrellas, to Surprise Cast. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, good.
Hello. Thanks so much for having us on.
Hello.
You are absolutely welcome. We have Nick, we have Matt, and we have Morgan joining us. Before we go deep into this conversation, I'm going to throw this kind of lighthearted question over to Nick. And I want to know, Nick, if I were to speak with a family member of yours, a relative, a close friend during your childhood, how would they describe you as a child?
I think probably pretty obedient, wanting to follow rules and please people, and I just think I was described as kind of a quieter kid that kept to himself, only child. So I guess that kind of also feeds into that.
Where'd you grow up?
Davis, California.
Did you go to college there?
No, I went to college here in San Francisco. Go Gators.
Very nice. Did you enjoy growing up in Davis?
I did. Not so much. I think looking back now, it was pretty okay town to grow up in, but I found it kind of boring, I guess, growing up. But I was lucky because there's always like house shows and things that KWS, the college radio station, they would throw on DIY shows. So I did have something to do during my high school years, but still found Davis kind of boring.
It's very reminiscent of the college that I went to, San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly. In fact, we share a pizza place called Woodstocks.
Woodstocks is great.
There's a gentleman who's on your label, Andy Pastelenik from Chime School, who also went to Davis.
Indeed, yeah. I was just talking to Andy. I guess he started a label that KWS, or I guess that the school actually funded. I had no idea about that. I guess it was pretty short-lived, but
he's a cool cat. Thank you for sharing. A
little too cool, yeah.
Matt, what were you like as a child?
I was kind of I couldn't really sit still. I did like I was like I don't know. I got in trouble a lot in school. Not for like being like a jerk or anything, I just like wanted to just do something else, and like I'd always be drawing or like, so I was like in the principal's office a lot until like 5th or 6th grade. But I wasn't like a mean kid though. I wasn't like mean to other kids. I wasn't mean to adults. I just like went to a really strict Catholic school. So, but I really liked music and art a lot as a kid.
Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in San Clemente, California, famous because of Richard Nixon and surfing, near the San Onofre nuclear power plants from The Naked Gun. I think they're in that movie. Morgan's from there too, but I'll leave that to Morgan.
Oh, I want to go back to this notion of being in the principal's office, and I'll tell you why. I've spoken to other artists, musicians, where they found themselves to have had difficult situations at school. You weren't a problematic child, but hearing you talk about being in the principal's office, what were you doing?
Well, I just like, I don't know. I would just get up out of my seat and like walk out of class. Like, stuff like that, or like go look out the window or draw, or like, there was this one kid that like at recess once jumped on top of me and started kicking me. And I told him to get his stinking butt off me. And for some reason, I got in more trouble than he did because it was a Catholic school and I should have turned the other cheek or something, just like weird things like that. And like, I just like, I don't know. I just didn't want, I just would get up or I'd blurt out. I don't know. I really don't understand, honestly. Yeah. But that's just the way they were rearing children at Catholic school.
I was an elementary school teacher for 23 years. I understand your situation.
Yeah.
We move on to Morgan. Morgan, were you in the principal's office or what?
No, not really. I think my demon years came on later when I was like in middle school and high school. I was kind of bad. But when I was like a kid, I think I was a little serious, my mom said. Like my brother is 4 years older than me, and he was the one who was like batting his eyelashes at people passing by, and like he would even like throw things at them at the restaurant to like get attention. Whereas like I would like kind of like look at them and like not really want their attention. I would just like, they'd be like, "Oh, look at her. She has beautiful eyes," or something. And I would just kind of stare at them. And she said, yeah, my mom says that I was a little serious. You had to like really work to get my affection. Yeah. I think that's just like a funny, notable thing that my parents have said about me as a kid. And in school, I was pretty good. I didn't like math. I would glare at my teacher when I had to do math, so she did not like me for that. They said once they started teaching math, I would just check out. And like I like played soccer, and once the people, like the coaches, wanted me to like really keep working hard during the soccer game, I would check out because I'd be like, "Don't tell me what to do or like how to do something." I think I was very like firm like that.
Are you still like that?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
What way?
I think like I don't like it when people tell me how to do something or what I should be doing. I feel like I'm pretty like self-reliant for a lot of things. And not that I can't take criticism or anything like that. It's just more about like I think I would respond the same way if I was like playing a soccer game and they were like, "Run faster." I'd be like, "No."
So would you run slower?
Probably to spite, yeah. But I was like really good at soccer. I think they wanted me to be like they're trying to motivate me. And I think that tactic just has never really worked for me, probably.
So in the music industry, do you, I don't want to say take orders from people, but I'm sure there are some demands somewhere along the line. Is that hard for you to accept? If there are any demands?
Yeah, I can't quite think of any big demands. We recently have gotten a band manager who's wonderful. That's the only. We're pretty like we're lucky to have so much freedom in what we do at this point in our musical careers. Also, I want to apologize for any background noise. I don't think you'll hear it, but we have some special guests in our garage playing music right now that you might know from a band called the Reds, Pinks, and Purples. And they are literally practicing in the garage right now. So you might hear it.
You better get Glenn up here right now.
Come back to that.
That is fantastic. Oh, my goodness. Nick, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Okay. So in my hand, I have a wonderful little pick-me-ups. Good grief.
Very nice.
I'm going to read to you a little comic, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Here we go.
Sure. All right.
We have our lovable, adorable dog, Snoopy, on the doghouse. And he's sitting there looking up, and he says, "My life has become a bore. Everything is the same day in and day out. What I need is change." And all he does is he just changes position.
It's quite cute. I really love that beagle.
Perspective is everything. And so here's my question. When did you start to notice change in the way that you listen to music, the way that you respond to it? Anything?
That's a it's a real stumper. I suppose probably around like 6th or 7th grade, I started realizing like there's a certain quality of music that I liked. It usually had to do with like production of it, things that sounded a little bit more like sparse, things that sounded, just I guess thinner production wise. I remember like, listening to early punk bands, Ramones and The Clash and Sex Pistols and things like that, and then diving further and further deeper into like punk records and like 7 inches that had been recorded by teens in the 70s and 80s and things like that, and noticing how they recorded it and noticing the spatial quality in which like, oh, this cassette player picked up, I don't just different qualities and within like a room or something. So yeah, probably around like 7th, 8th grade, somewhere around there, I feel like is when I really started listening into music.
I love that answer. And from many of my guests, I've heard those bands come up in the conversation, kind of being the game changer, the catalyst for change. Matt, I'm going to ask you the same question. What about for you? When did you start to take notice of music in terms of its quality, its characteristics, and so on and so forth?
For me, it was probably like in like 6th or 7th grade. I got really into like Duran Duran in 6th grade, which is really weird for like a child in 2001. But my dad LimeWired or Kazammed or whatever a bunch of Beatles songs in like around then. And I remember like hearing Eleanor Rigby the first time and being like, "What is this? Like this is incredible." So yeah, like that. And then really embarrassing like early 2000s pop punk was like pretty big for me, in a sense where like Sum 41 made me want to play guitar. But yeah, so that's I mean, before that I was listening to music, but it was like really, I liked like the James Bond soundtracks as a kid. But that's when I was like, okay, I want to like just listen to music, and then and then it all just goes from there.
I can't think of a time that I've had a conversation with a guest where the Beatles have not come up within that conversation. So way to keep the pattern going here. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Morgan, Beatles, Duran Duran, Sum 41. Who was it for you?
For me, it was David Bowie, for sure. Yeah, I like sang. I have a very distinct memory of me singing Life on Mars in its entirety, the whole song, standing at the top of the stairs, and my parents watching me as if it were like a concert. So yeah, that blew my mind that a song could be like that. And my parents have always been huge music people. Like, my dad collected records when he was younger, and my dad plays music, and they've always taken me to lots of concerts and stuff. And like they really love songs. Like they would get obsessed with songs. So I think that really led to me like obsessing over certain songs and like their structures. And I think something about like a good ballad when you're a kid really clicks for you as like a segue into, like classic rock or any other kind of music besides kids music. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper at that. I asked Mickey Bereni of Lush when she was growing up as a child, what was it about music that she really responded to? Harmony, pitch, melodies at a young age. And I know at a young age, we don't have that language to really articulate it. But in hindsight, you can go back and go, oh, yeah, it was definitely this. So I'm going to ask you that question. What was it that you were really gravitating towards in terms of these songs? Was it the chorus, the verses, harmonies, anything you want to share?
Yeah, I think like a big chorus, like a big, almost theatric chorus really was like mesmerizing to me. Harmonies, of course, like really beautiful, interesting sounding harmonies. And then like, especially as a kid, like somebody who like creates another world, you know? I think that's why Bowie was so huge to me when I was a kid, because he made such a world in each of his songs, like just specifically with Life on Mars, you know? Yeah, I think I really gravitated towards that.
If we have a Venn diagram right there in the middle, you two have something in common. What do you suppose you and Bowie might have in common?
Oh my gosh, I can say like so many inappropriate things. But I think it would be, I mean, I love to wear fun outfits on stage and build that character of like being a, you know, taking like having the freedom to make something bigger than yourself on stage. I think not as extreme as Bowie in a way, feel similar to that.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Okay, Nick, for all the listeners tuning into this podcast, could you give them just a basic summary, if you don't mind, about the history of the umbrellas? How did it form?
Sure. Well, Keith, Matt, and myself played in a punk group together, and that was kind of fizzling out. And I think Matt and I both had expressed to one another that we were interested in making music that was a little bit more poppy, a little bit more nicer, I suppose. And Morgan at the time had just moved to San Francisco and was living in an apartment with all my roommates, and she was working at Amoeba at the time, and we started nerding out over indie pop music and Sarah Records and C86 groups and things like that. And I think, what is the legend? Matt and I were at a party, a 4th of July party, and there's karaoke going on. And I think you sang a Bowie song. I think you sang Life on Mars, right, Morgan? And
Nice.
I think something clicked, and then we're like, oh, we should have Morgan sing in this group. Okay. And then I think that's generally the story that I like to teach people. I don't know.
So, why the umbrellas?
In terms of the name, or
Yeah.
I think so the legend goes, we're looking at just inanimate objects in the room. Oh, table, kitchenette. Oh, and I think for whatever reason, umbrella just stuck.
I like it. Simple as that. Why make it
Absolutely.
more complicated? Matt, what do you do in the band?
I play guitar and I sing. I do recording. You know, I do some arranging. But I don't know. I do some lyric writing too. I do some songwriting.
How long you been playing the guitar for?
I got my first guitar in 1999, but I didn't start. I like played a little bit those first couple years, but it was really like my birthday 2002 where I started playing guitar every day. I got like a Costco Yamaha guitar, and I was like kind of bummed because I wanted a video game for my birthday, but my parents got me a guitar. But it ended up being the best gift ever, you know, because it's my whole life is now based around that. You know, I'm not playing video games anymore.
Tell the audience, holding a guitar, strumming a guitar, picking, playing chords. What is it about that really electrifies you, gives you life?
I I don't know. I mean, I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so like guitar is like really fun to me. But I don't know. I like the voicings on guitars. I like the chord voicings a lot.
Okay, so let's go back to the principal's office. Do
Mhm.
you think, in retrospect, looking at the rearview mirror, it's hard to say, but do you think if you had a guitar at that time or playing guitar, would that have helped in any way deal with any kind of behavioral issues?
I don't know. I mean, I did get a guitar in fourth grade, but I wasn't that interested in it because I really wanted an electric guitar, but I got the classical guitar that's actually sitting right there. But I don't know. I guess I should expand on that. I was a class clown. I forgot to mention that. Like I was always performing and like trying to be funny. So that's also why I went to the principal's office. But yeah, I don't know. I think it did. I definitely in middle school when I did find music, I guess I did get to channel that energy. But before that, I was doing a lot of drawing at school and art.
Okay.
But then yeah, I just switched to music full on like in middle school and I kind of found an outlet and it did help me a lot like, eventually like when I got into my adolescence. But I became a lot more reserved when in middle school and in high school.
Does that class clown show up on stage? Because I've never seen you guys perform.
Oh yeah, I'm always saying cheeky shit.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I like to be a little bit of a sarcastic, guy on stage, maybe.
Okay.
We're all kind of goofy though. We're not like I think people are kind of surprised sometimes when they see us live because our music is so sincere. We make really like we really strived as a band to make like sincere art, because I think there's just so much ironic art and there's so much art where people are afraid to be like really genuine and sincere.
Yeah.
And that was something I definitely wanted with this band is to make art like that. But so it's funny when you see us and like we're kind of like playing these sincere pop songs, and then we're also just like, making these jokes or making fun of things or something,
Right.
I don't know.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Morgan, being a vocalist, Bowie was an influence. So tell us, what else do you do in the band?
Yeah, I play guitar and sing and do some songwriting, some lyric writing, collaborating with everybody. And I make music videos. Nick and I make a lot of artwork. I take photos, so a lot of the artwork for the new record are just my film photos. Yeah.
It sounds like you wear several different hats. Is there one that really speaks the loudest for you? In terms
Honestly,
of it happening just organically and just flowing out of you.
yeah, I think like that has always been vocals and harmonies. I've really enjoyed doing like natural harmonies. Matt and I have never really struggled with that. I feel like we've always just like really gotten along well over like our harmonies and stuff that we write and like trading off vocals. So I think vocals has always come the most natural to me. I had to learn a lot of painfully difficult guitar chords that Matt likes to use in some of the songs. So that did not come naturally. And it still isn't, but we're ever evolving.
Could you tell the listeners some vocalists that you admire, alive or deceased?
Definitely. Like I have a big stack of records here just sitting here. So for this record especially, I really love anything Pam Barry has done. And that is also directly related to the Slumberland roster because she was in Black Tambourine and she was in my favorite side project of hers, Glowworm, as well as the Shapiros, as well as a bunch of other projects. And I think that she has just the most lovely voice and like honestly the most lovely like delivery of lyrics. Yeah, I would say her and then Amelia Fletcher. Her vocals are very inspiring to me.
Why?
They're very confident. They're super confident. And I think in the last our first recordings, I didn't really like know how to have that confidence yet. And I listened to her a lot. And it really was so inspiring to me because yeah, she's always been so confident in her vocals, but they're also like really beautifully like breathy too. I think she has a lot of really great control of her voice, which I just didn't really think it would ever get that deep. With when we started the Umbrellas, I didn't think I'd be thinking about like listening to Amelia Fletcher and thinking about like where she breathes in her songs to like sing all of these words so quickly, and do these big choruses where she jumps up a whole key. Yeah, she really inspires me.
Do you take lessons?
No, I don't, but I've been talking about it. My partner and I both play in another band together, and we found out we're recording right now, and the person who's recording us was telling us that she had taken vocal lessons with her partner because they are about to go on a little tour together. And yeah, it's like a local person named Anna Hilberg, and Thomas and I are both thinking about doing some vocal lessons with her because I would love to. There's so much more to learn, and it is an instrument, and it's so important. So we are planning that soon. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Okay, Nick, back to you. I've really been enjoying this book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And there's a section in here where she talks about the morning pages. And I'm going to explain what that is. I'm going to read you a quick passage, and I'd like for you to respond in any manner that you like. There's no right or wrong, of course.
All right.
But I do want you to keep in mind and how this connects to your work, roles, and responsibility in the band as a musician. Okay, here we go.
Can do.
Morning pages. What are the morning pages? Put simply, the morning pages are the 3 pages of longhand writing, strictly stream of consciousness. Oh God, another morning? I have nothing to say. I need to wash the curtains. Did I get my laundry yesterday? Blah, 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 blah. They might also more ingloriously be called brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. There's no wrong way to do morning pages. These daily morning meanderings are not meant to be art or even writing. I stress that point to reassure that the non-writers working with this book, writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. Nothing is too petty, too silly, too stupid, or weird to be included. So my question for you is, what are your morning pages? Where do you possibly find inspiration in the work that you do within the band?
Well, first of all, that was quite a lovely passage. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
That
You're
is
you're the first one to receive that, so congratulations.
Oh, well, I feel quite honored. She's that is quite the question. Well, I suppose directly related to umbrellas things. I don't know. Personally, I have a lot of different things I'm involved in projects, and I do a lot of music related things and balance a job and all these other things. And I always try to prioritize umbrellas things first. I guess I've found myself in the position of generally making up visuals for the band. I had done t-shirt designs and I'll occasionally do a flyer for an umbrella show when we have one, tour posters, things of that nature. So I guess usually when I first wake up, I kind of examine, well, what do I have to do today? What's more pressing? And usually it ends up doing umbrellas things first, just because they're fun to do. It's rewarding, and I usually have I guess especially when it comes to visual things, I usually have a pretty clear idea of how something should look or how I want to portray a message or advertise something. So yeah, usually just you can pretty easily cook something up and make a little draft and send it to Umbrellas for their approval and see if they like what I'm doing.
That's pretty incredible. In terms of the visual artwork, does that come naturally for you?
Hard to say. I don't think I had the confidence to do visual artwork probably 4 or 5 years ago. And ever since I started kind of putting myself out there and doing artwork, I guess maybe it's come kind of naturally. People have liked it, and so I guess it's been
Okay.
easier than other things.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Matt, let's stick with this book by Julia Cameron. This is called Going Sane, SANE. Same thing. I'll read it and just respond how you like. Going sane. Trusting our creativity is new behavior for many of us. It may feel quite threatening initially, not only to us, but also to our intimates. We may feel and look erratic. This erraticism is a normal part of getting unstuck, pulling free from the muck that has blocked us. It is important to remember that at first flush, going sane feels like going crazy. There is a recognizable ebb and flow to the process of recovering our creative selves. As we gain strength, so will some of the attacks of self-doubt. This is normal, and we can deal with these stronger attacks when we see them as symptoms of recovery. How do you respond to that?
Well, creativity is, I don't know. Yeah, for me, I can kind of relate to that just because it's sometimes really hard to be creative when I have to like work a job. I've been a substitute teacher for the last 8 years to, be a rock and roller. But like, yeah, it's just like working day jobs and stuff and like having like real life things happen. I have all these ideas in my head while when I'm doing the most mundane things that I don't want to do. And I have to get home and flesh them out, or I have to write them in my phone. And yeah, I don't know. I feel, but sometimes I don't have the energy to after work either. I just lay in bed instead. But it's like, it's a constant battle, but it eventually comes out. I don't know. But I have like, I have like I have like voice memos going back years. And sometimes I recycle some ideas when I'm like feeling a little bit stuck. I'll be like, I'll listen back. Okay, that's not so bad. Maybe I can work on that or bring that to the band and see what they say,
Okay, Morgan. There is a well-known producer by the name of Rick Rubin, Beastie Boys, Tom Petty, Johnny Cash, and he wrote a phenomenal book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And I'm going to read a little passage to you, and I want you to tell us, the listeners, how this applies to the Umbrellas and specifically this newer album. Okay? This is called Temporary Rules, since you don't really like rules. Much of the artistic process involves ignoring rules, letting go of rules, undermining rules, and rooting out rules that we didn't know we were following. There is also a place for imposing rules, for using rules as a tool to define a given project. When there are no material, time, budget, and constraints, you have unlimited options. When you accept limitations, your range of choices is reduced. Whether imposed by design or by necessity, it's helpful to see limitations as opportunities. Temporary rules. How does that apply to this new album? Anything else you want to respond to?
I think one reason I enjoy being in the Umbrellas so much is that we are so like just because in the music industry there are a lot of like unspoken like quote unquote quote rules of how things should be and how you should do things, and like if you're a pop band, you can't be punk. Like, you can't be from punk backgrounds. That's like one of the fake rules that I feel like exists around this genre of jangle pop. You have to be twee. You have to sound a certain way. You can't make crude jokes on stage, or have really loud feedback sections of songs, and we do all of those things. So I think in this new record, we were really trying to show people that we can get loud, and we're not just like a baby pop band. Yeah.
And would you say, based on what you just shared, this new album, Fairweather Friend, really exemplifies that in terms of its sound? I mean, and I say this with great respect, there's some real evolution here. There's a real leap.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think that we applied that in making the new record. Definitely. I mean, the like Toe the Line is like an abrupt jump. I think it comes right before Echoes or after. I don't know. We did that on purpose because we were like, who says that we can't have a super loud, fast song in front of like our most quiet, like sparse, dreamy song, because we're the Umbrellas and we're allowed to do that. We do it on stage. So like, why can't we do it in our recordings? Yeah, we definitely took I think we realized just how much like we are our own bosses here. And we really went on with that when making this record.
Tell us some of the themes on this record.
Themes. I think a lot of the songs are about like longing and reflection, because a lot of the songs were written during like COVID, and like some were even pre-COVID. But for the most part, a lot of them were written during the lockdown. So there's a lot of longing. And then I think, like I said, like I think like freedom, like having like our own agency, like freedom and confidence as a band, just being a band for as long as we have. We like knew exactly what we wanted with this record, and like wanted to show our confidence, and like just with time how much we've grown.
And with that growth, I believe there's someone that helped along the way by the name of Mark Gardner.
Yeah. Yes.
The gentleman from Ride.
Yeah, that one.
Oh my goodness. How did you land that fish?
That wasn't even tricky. That was so easy. We were really surprised. Our friends and who we've toured with, that we've played countless shows with, that we've grown alongside, Sea Blight, who Andy Chime School drums for. They had their previous record mastered by Mark, and they gave us his email, and we emailed him, and he said yes. We were like, wow, okay. So that was that. We didn't want Matt to have to mix or master this record. Matt did it during the last record and almost went insane. So we wanted to take that load off him now that we can afford it. And yeah, it does not hurt to have Mark Gardner on our, on a little typewriter thank you on our liner notes.
Mark Gardner, Simon Scott have come up in my conversation so often in terms of their mastering production work. It's phenomenal. All these contributions they're making in supporting artists. Glad to hear that you were able to.
It's very cool. It's very cool. I love it when artists continue to it's like he's like giving back to the community. It's like, it's such a nice thing. Yeah, we were just totally honored to have him, and he did such a great job. So I think we will work with him again, hopefully.
Fantastic. Okay, Nick, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a listen to a song right now, and I have picked out track number 8 from the album. This is called When You Find Out. So after we listen to the song, if you'd like to give some analysis, that would be great. Here we go. When You Find Out by the Umbrellas from the album Fairweather Friend. Enjoy.
What was that I heard you say just yesterday? I'm not surprised anymore that you say life's a big disguise. Oh, but I don't buy it. You think you've seen all the cards, 'cause you're looking backwards, but there's nothing to see. Will you come back and take it out on me when you find out?
Okay, so we've just listened to that song. Matt, do you want to chime in here?
Sure, I'd love to. When You Find Out, that was like one of the last songs we did on the record. We wrote for the record. It started out with Morgan had this really great chorus idea for a chorus, and we collaborated. And I fleshed out like an arrangement like really quickly, and then we worked on it and we recorded it. I don't know. It's like it was like a really great collaboration that just everything was perfect. And that's the last song we did. And we thought we needed like another like fast song for the record, more of an upbeat sound, like one, not upbeat because it's kind of a fight song. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm really proud of that one. I really like the production on it. You're kind of taking some inspiration from like Flying Nun bands, I guess, the sound of that one with the transistor organ and the electric guitars and kind of the weird, like almost like 80s to 60s, like psych part in the middle of the song. So yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's a good one. I'm really proud of that one. That's actually probably my favorite song on the record.
I love that you mentioned Flying Nun because when I first heard it, with all due respect, it reminded me of the Bats and the Chills and that perfect marriage of, wonderful pop sensibilities. Fantastic. Nick, we have you back.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share what you want to share.
Oh, my apologies for my faulty technology.
No worries.
But When You Find Out, that's up there as well as one of my favorite tracks off of the record. That one came together. I'm sure, Matt, I kind of missed what you said, but yeah, that one came together super easily, and definitely probably one of the more fun songs to play live. Super bouncy bass line on there. Keith's drumming is super tight with those little fills during the chorus. Yeah, people seem to really taken a liking to that one live as well.
Okay, I don't know a thing about mastering. So what would Mark Gardner have done to that song? Or like, did he push the vocals up? Did he clean up? Like,
So our record was actually all mixed by Jason Queever from the Paper Cuts.
nice.
He did all the mixing in this beautiful analog studio he's built with all like really great gear, and put it all on tape and stuff. So the mixes were all pretty much done. Everything was sounding great. What Mark did is he made things a little louder. He like widened the stereo field a little bit. He like brightened up the overall mix, but he didn't necessarily adjust any levels between instruments or anything. That was already done by Jason Queever, who did like an amazing job, and we'd love to work with Jason again.
He's a pretty sensational musician. So how long did Mark spend on mastering this then? A week?
Like a couple weeks, maybe. I don't remember. We finished the record actually around this time last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is a great track, and we're going to listen to another one. This is track number 10, PM, from the album Fairweather Friend by the Umbrellas. Let's take a listen. All righty. Woohoo. Morgan, do you want to share anything about this song?
Yeah, PM. That's our answer to a song off our first record that is titled AM. And it was previously titled FM because, as with many of our songs on our records, they start out with names that we just give them until they have a real title. And this one was the Field Mice song. So it was our very Field Mice inspired song. That one we recorded fairly quickly. I think I remember us all being really excited and really like shocked, like where the vocals went in the studio. Like I remember Matt being like, "This is so awesome. I had no idea this song was going to go this way." Because at the end, it has like all the crazy vocal harmonies and fading out. I have fun playing that one because I get to play the lead live, which is really fun. Yeah, I think the most notable thing about that song is the Field Mice inspiration and the just where the vocals were just completely made on the spot and during the recording session. And we just like had so much fun adding layers and layers of vocals because we were like, we didn't know what to do with that part of the song. So just the fact that that ended up happening and it just became like definitely that might be my favorite song on the record. So yeah.
I appreciate the connection to the Field Mice, great band. And when you are adding layers and layers and layers, do you ever have to pull back and go, okay, this is too much?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we're going through the weeding out of maybe some layers in a newer song that we just recorded.
But what happens, Morgan? Sorry to interrupt you, but what happens if you feel like, no, let's keep pushing the envelope, let's keep sprinkling, and then Matt says, no, we need to dial it back. What do you do?
Yeah, Matt's saying that he never does that. More. We're always like, let's keep adding more. It's better to have more, I think, than to stop yourself and have less. Because you can always delete. You can always hit delete. You can always like, it's better to have more. Matt has something to say.
If anything, Nick is the one that's always like, we should stop. We've added, it's perfect. Because I'll just like want to keep adding keyboards and other things and just like getting more, orchestrating even more because I'm a huge Beach Boys nerd. Brian Wilson is like one of my heroes. So I'm like, let's add more, let's add an accordion.
And that probably harkens back to my early influences of just very sparse recordings and things like that, where that's just to my ear what sounds appropriate, I guess.
Okay, so then I have to ask this question, whoever wants to address this. When I've spoken to artists, musicians, and I'll say, how do you know when a song is done? James Chapman from MAP said, when he gets the shiver effect. How do you know when an Umbrellas song is done?
I think when we're sick of working on it, probably, where we just feel like we can't do anything else, that we need to move on.
Yeah. Did this album, these songs, did they just kind of flow out of everyone?
I feel like, well, a lot of those songs Matt had come up with, right after our first record. And there's some songs on that record that we had been sitting on for almost 2 years, I feel like. It's kind of an amalgamation of songs that I think were thought out really well and worked on, then some that came together really quickly, like Total Line, I remember, was almost the night, like you had recorded a demo, Matt, and I think the next day we had panned out some sort of demo live as a band, and then I know Games came really easily, but some of those songs you've been working on for quite a long time, like Say What You Mean had been worked on for probably years. I don't know, 2, 3, yeah.
Being on Slumberland Records, I'm actually speaking with Michael tomorrow for an interview. What is it about this long-standing record label that you appreciate? I'm going to toss that one over to Morgan.
Oh my gosh, what could I even say? It's like, it means so much to us. That is like, our creation records. That's our Sarah records. We're so lucky to live in the same place as to live near Mike and Slumberland. We before before the Umbrellas even started, Nick and I were like collecting Slumberland records and trading them and talking about them, along with K records and Sarah records and stuff like that. So when we started the band, we were like, maybe if we're lucky, we could put out like a 7-inch on K records. Or we didn't even think like Slumberland would have interest in us. We just didn't know yet. And then Mike came to a show that we were playing with our label mate, Tony Molina, and Tony was super supportive of us and was like, you need to get an Umbrellas tape, Mike. Like, you need to put them out. They're great. And this has all really like come back around because now I kind of did the same thing to Mike with Lightheaded. And like Lightheaded is going to be touring with Tony Molina a little bit in the UK. So it's all linked. It's like word of mouth. And we just got really lucky with the right timing and Mike wanting to put us out. It means the world to us. Yeah. So many, like Eiley said, like so many great bands from the Bay were on Slumberland that like really, really inspired us. Like we had the Softies come and play our record release show. So it is like a big family, but we never want to downplay just how like important it's been for the Bay Area music scene. It's huge.
Thank you for sharing. I look forward to talking to Mike tomorrow to get a deeper kind of excavation mining of the record label and what it's done and the influences and the support and all of that good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Matt, I'm going to ask you a very hard question. Just hear me out first, okay? All righty. Hypothetically, it's Friday night and the Umbrellas are playing at the Kilowatt, Great American Music Hall, Fillmore. And I've decided to go to the show. Now, we all know parking in San Francisco can be a nightmare and quite expensive. We all know that it takes work to go to a concert. And we all know that for us concert goers, mostly it's been a successful journey, but there have been some shows that have been truly lackluster, not worth my time, nor my money, nor my energy. So here's my question, Matt. I've never seen the Umbrellas before. Why should I attend to see one of your shows? Why should I spend this time, energy, and money to go see you? And what do the Umbrellas do to make the show a little extra special?
Well, we play from the heart. No, but I don't know. We our live show is we play like really loud. And it's pretty energetic, and I don't know why you should see us, honestly. But I don't know. I think that we're also really nice to people that come to our shows. We'll talk to them after, and we really love community, honestly. So we'll talk to people. We play. We're well rehearsed. We have little surprises and tricks we do in between songs. We'll have little gimmicks, and sometimes we'll hoist Keith into the air while he's playing drums.
Yeah. We all wear leotards on stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Morgan will get her samurai sword out and start doing crazy David Lee Roth stuff,
Mhm.
Boy, have I been missing out or what?
Yeah. I don't know. I want to believe. I really do just want to believe, though, that you should come see us. If say I want to believe that we make sincere pop music, but it's we have. There's a lot of energy live, and it's pretty incredible to watch Keith play drums. And it's actually a real shame he's missing this interview because I'm sure he'd have a lot to say about our. That's part of the reason why I think we're a good band now is because we used to have a drum machine. We were good then because we had good songs, but once Keith switched to drums, it really just elevated us to like as far as a live act goes. Because he's kind of, Keith is our Keith Moon. You know, he's just a shredder. He's like an animal on the drums. It's crazy.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Nick, anything else you want to add to that live experience for the audience? What makes your show so compelling?
Yeah, just the leotards, I think. We have their matching. We've just switched over to their cotton now, so they breathe a little bit better. Yeah, you should come see us just to see the leotards. They're pretty nice.
And the sarcasm, as Matt alluded to earlier. I love it. Morgan, do you get stage fright?
Not so much nowadays. I still kind of do. If I try to say something I didn't really prepare in my head,
Yeah.
I will. I think I did like a little speech, impromptu speech about the softies opening up for our record release show, and I like totally like goofed that. You know, and then you never forget. Just lives in your head. Remember forever. But I realized that I don't really look at people much when I play lately. I kind of like it just look up above their heads. I don't really look at them too often nowadays. I don't know what changed there. I used to stare at everybody and I would make myself very nervous. I don't know why. I think I was just like didn't know how to be on stage. Yeah. So, but now I don't feel nervous and maybe I've just adapted to know how to regulate myself. I don't get shaky though. My boyfriend gets shaky. He has to take a propanolol, a beta blocker before getting on stage because it literally like he gets really shaky. I've
Okay.
never had that, so I'm grateful to not have that issue. I get a little nervous.
Matt, how is the tour in England?
It was really cold.
Yeah.
It was freezing. None of us, I think, yeah, I don't think any of us brought the right clothes. I don't think we expected how cold it was going to be. It was a really great tour, though. You know, we started the tour at the Madrid Pop Festival in Spain, which was, we got to play with Comet Gain, which was awesome. Yeah, and then the UK tour was incredible. We hit a bunch of places we had never been to before. Got to, you know, hang out with some indie pop legends, meet some indie pop legends we haven't met before. Lots of just all the we played with some great local bands that were just, the bills were fantastic. It was our first time working with a booking agent. We had a great driver. We ate lots of sausage rolls, and we also collectively brought home like 96 records, I think, as a band.
Goodness.
So it was a really successful tour. Yeah, it was great. It was one of the most remarkable tours I think we've ever had.
I saw images online and it just looked fabulous.
Mhm.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
In my hand, speaking of records, each one of you is going to share 1 to 3 albums that you would recommend to the audience. I'm going to go first, but I'm only going to do one. Okay. This is a gentleman by the name of Tim Burgess. You may know him from the Charlatans. And this was the solo album. I love The New Sky, which came out right the height of the pandemic. And he was doing all the Twitter X listening parties. And he is one of the reasons why I'm behind a microphone right now, as his listening parties inspired me to start hosting events online, building a community of music appreciators, and then starting to reach out to artists to have conversations. And this album is so diverse in its sound. It's a Bella Union album, so you know you're going to get something really cool. So I'm picking this one, Tim Burgess. So I love it. Okay. Nick, 1, 2, 3 albums. What are they?
I was kind of scrambling to pick one, but I've been listening to this Michigan hardcore band called The Fix. They're an early example of hardcore from that state. And there's a compilation album called The Speed of Twisted Thought that I think I've listened to every single day for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Right. Just really aggressive shredding hardcore from the early 80s.
Thank you for sharing. Any others?
Not that's coming to my mind. That was just
Okay.
first thing. Yeah.
Okay. Morgan, what about you? Are you going to say reds, pinks, and purples?
I should. I actually, do you think that we could pause for a second?
Matt, what are some of your choices?
So I last year we have some friends that are in a band called the Uni Boys, who are this great power pop band from LA. Good friends. We've been playing music with their bands for years. They went on tour with this band called the Lemon Twigs, who I'd never really listened to before, but I like had heard about them because I was a fan of like Wise Blood's Titanic Rising. So I'm like, who are these brothers? So they opened for the Lemon Twigs, and I saw them, and it like completely floored me. I was like, this is amazing music. So something I've been listening to a lot for the last like almost year is their record, Everything Harmony. It's an incredible record, and I've gotten to become their friends, actually. Michael and Brian are good friends of mine now. And I just think they're like some of the most like, they're just like these, they're really amazing musicians and songwriters, and they're super inspiring. And I think that they're, you know, they're doing well, but I also think criminally they're underrated as songwriters. And like, I think they should be bigger than they are. And, you know, and they're also just great guys. They're good friends. So
This is the 4AD band.
sorry.
Is this 4AD band?
Yeah, they were on 480. Yeah, they're not on 480 anymore. They're on captured tracks now. But yeah, this record's really good, and then their new record that's coming out next month is also pretty good. I got to hear a little bit of it, and then I've kind of been listening. It's strange, but I've gotten really into Simon and Garfunkel. So I've been listening to Bridge Over Troubled Water a lot. I think that just the songs on it are great, but the production of that record is just like, because I'm a huge nerd for production. I think it's a really great sounding record. And it's also a great, I think, final statement for a band, you know, just to end on such a high note in general.
And what those two could do is, in terms of their vocal acrobatics, extraordinary.
Yeah. It's really impressive. And I think Art Garfunkel really got the short end of the stick because he wasn't a songwriter, but he's amazing. His vocals are so beautiful, and I'm sure he probably contributed a lot in the studio for production and stuff, but just no one knows about it. You know, I'm sure he had some great ideas too. Just I think Paul Simon gets all the glory.
Yeah. No, and while we're waiting for Morgan, Nick, do you want to quickly tell us, is there a memorable concert? I'm sure you've seen many, but are any ones that stick out for you?
Oh, any just in general. I could, off the top of my head, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I saw Robbie Coltrane perform at SF Jazz, and he was doing renditions of his mother and father's music. The show was called Cosmic Music. That was extremely moving, and I mean, just off the top of my head, within the last year or so, that's probably one of the best shows I've been to personally. It was completely moving.
What about you, Matt?
Well, Nick and I actually a year and a half ago went to see Robbie Coltrane do the same concert. And the funny thing about it, though, is he got COVID. So we ended up just watching his band. It was really weird. That it wasn't like super moving, but that's the yang to Nick's yang about Robbie Coltrane. But I don't know. Oh, I saw Peter Brotzman once before he died, European free jazz musician, and it was incredible. Really glad I got to see him. Just, you know, improvise for like an hour. I also got to see Kronos Quartet once play for 4 hours straight. That was pretty incredible. It was a lot of, you had to really commit to the drone. But once I did, it was a really rewarding experience. Yeah, I don't know. To see Fred Frith I got to see Fred Frith a couple times. You know. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Morgan, some records that you'd like to recommend?
Yeah, I've got a few here. Thomas and I DJ'd a wedding recently, so all of my records have just been sitting all over the place, and I haven't got around to putting them back, which I should. But I chose this one. It's Why Pop Stars Can't Dance. It's Slumberland compilation that I think is like the perfect intro to Slumberland for if people want to check out the label. It's got like so many. I mean, it's got Stereolab, which is a little bit like, it's kind of a deep cut for Slumberland because they did 1 7-inch with Stereolab before they got snapped up. They got another label. And then they brought the ship, Henry's Dress, the Ropers, Linda Smith, who we're going to go play a show with in DC, Washington, DC, which will be really fun. Yeah, so they chose this one. It's so great. Also great to DJ because you just throw it on. It's track after track. Ace. Then I have this other compilation of another record label that I love, Cherry Red. This is all like female led bands. All the vocalists are women. And this is a huge record for like the beginning of like Nick and I's friendship. We lived together for a second and he let me borrow it and I listened to it like on repeat in the room that I was staying in like so much. And then like our other roommate bought it for me and we were talking about female vocalists like Marine Girls, Tracy Thorn, Strawberry Switchblade, like so many inspiring female vocalists who make like really good, like who made amazing indie pop. So yeah, that's definitely another. I want to keep it going with the compilations, but I don't think I have any others over here. So I will just say, I'll say The Millenniums Begin. This record is beautiful. They look so cool. All the mod haircuts. I feel like it's like beautiful songwriting that is in the same kind of like ethos as Umbrellas. We take a lot of inspiration from like that era of like dreamy, like it feels like it's like California sunshine inspired pop. So yeah, those are my 3.
Listeners, you have a lot of homework to do, including myself. So thank you. Okay, Nick, what's coming down the line for the band in 2024 and beyond?
Well, in about a month, we're going to be hitting the road and going all across our great nation and probably going to be stopping in a town near you, the listener. So I think that's really the only thing on the immediate horizon. We're all looking forward to cramming in a Chrysler van for the next month or so. And I think later in fall, there's a real exciting show we'll be playing locally. So look for the Umbrellas opening up for a real fun and influential act, I guess we can say.
Can we reveal that act?
I don't think so. Maybe after
4-letter word? Oh,
4-letter.
a guy by the name with Mark in it? No.
I wish, unfortunately.
So, but this will happen in the fall. This is after your June 29th date, then, way after.
A few months after, yeah.
Because that's going to be in San Francisco at the Kilowatt.
Indeed, yeah.
I think I just might have to be there for that show. Where else are you playing?
We are playing, again, all across the U.S. I guess some of the standout dates. We're playing at a real funny little local bar called Knuckleheads in San Clemente, where Matt and Morgan are from. I think that's I think that'll be kind of significant for you guys. Isn't that a bar that you would frequent as, or maybe not?
My dad's cover band he's played there like a bunch of times. So it's really cute. Yeah, it'll be fun. We played like around San Clemente, but we never played like properly in San Clemente because it's a little beach town. So it's gonna be a fun show, definitely.
Yeah,
That is on June 1st.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Playing with our friends in semi trucks and another group called the Clog. And yeah, just it'll be all friends and family. So
Great.
a real exciting show.
Matt, did you want to add anything to what Nick just said?
Yeah, we're going to be going to Canada. We're going to be going to Toronto and Quebec. And we've never been to Toronto or Quebec. We've only been to Vancouver and Victoria. We're also going there as well. And I'm very excited because we're going to be driving through the Dakotas, which I've never been to. But I just want to drive through the Dakotas because I've been now to like, I think 40 of the states. So I'm trying to get them all, you know, even if I'm just driving through them and using the bathroom, you know.
Monarch Tavern, June 17th in Toronto.
Right.
And then June 16th, Montreal. You guys are really rocking it right now. You're getting a lot of attention for well-deserved. So congratulations on this.
Thank you so
Morgan,
much.
you're smiling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it feels good. It's fun. I mean, we're so lucky to be able to comfortably tour and not have to like pay for things. Like that's huge for us. We paid for everything initially. So just to be able to get out there for lodging and a driver, free meals, like it was just so cool it's amazing to reflect and like be in that at this part of our band career. Yeah. It's been very rewarding.
Thank you so much to the Umbrellas for being here. We have Matt, Morgan, and Nick. We're going to close out our conversation by one more reading, but this time nobody's going to respond. You're just going to listen with the listeners. My name is W, also known as William, host of the High Art on the Edge page. Proud organizer for this podcast called Surprise Cast. Again, you just tuned into my conversation with the Umbrellas from San Francisco. Congratulations to all the success. The album that came out in January, go pick it up, and you can find them on Spotify, Bandcamp, all platforms, and look for their tour dates coming to a local city near you. All right, here we go. This is from Rick Rubin again. It's called Try Everything. Try everything. Mixing blue, yellow makes green. Adding 2 + 2 makes 4. When combining basic elements in the ordinary course of life, much is predictable. In creating art, the sum total of the parts often defies expectation. Theory and practice don't always line up. The formula that worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. The proven solutions are sometimes the least helpful. There is a gap between imagination and reality. An idea might seem brilliant in our mind, but once employed, it might not work at all. Another might seem dreary at first. Then upon execution, it might be exactly what's called for. Take care, everyone. Ciao.
Faceless drivers, empty names won't entertain this bad feeling of mine. Starting over to a new life. Waves and sky, wave goodbye. Waves and sky, wave goodbye. Your best at your worst. I find it still hurts.
tide is high and it's coming in. Pickup truck won't start again. Broken window on the passenger seat side, starting over to a new life. Starting